Well, that was indeed madness, mile high madness, and anything did truly actually go in that main event tonight. We saw a little of everything, some amazing moves, a lot of mayhem, a lot of violence, and just a lot of fun. Great main event. And we had a stacked card tonight on AEW Dynamite. Great show. Another great showing for AEW on a Wednesday night. I mean, where else would you rather be but watching AEW Dynamite? Welcome back to All Elite Spotlight. I am TNT. Thanks again for watching. It's good to have you. I know if you watched tonight, you definitely had a good time and you enjoyed yourself. So why don't we go ahead and get right into it? We had a championship match. We had ultra high pace, big action main event. We had a resolution to what the stipulation will be for MJF and Hangman. And we had a women's tag title match that may have left you feeling a little unsatisfied, depending on your point of view, or for me, I would say just in general. But let's start from the top. So we started with a promo for the women's tag title match. Babes of Wrath just saying a few words, and Megabad with Lena Cross having their words as well for the match later tonight. Then that was quickly followed up with a video package just recapping the FTR Young Bucks situation, going over what happened, how FTR crossed the line last week by Spike piledriving Malachi Jackson in the middle of the ring at the end of Dynamite last week and putting their hands on the parents of the Young Bucks, which Dax and Cash said, well, the parents laid hands on us first, so all's fair. Not so much, especially with Mama Buck getting pushed by Dax. That was crazy. But adds to the hype for the match. So that was setting up basically the main event, which, as I mentioned, will be for the Mile High Madness. Anything goes match between FTR and the Demand, Ricochet, Gates of Agony, against the Young Bucks and the Rascals and Jack Perry. All right, so from there, we have the opening match, and it's going to be Continental Champion Jon Moxley of the Death Riders facing off against Don Callis family member El Clone. And this ended up being indeed an eliminator match. So 20-minute time limit if El Clone wins, obviously, or lasted 20 minutes, then he will have earned a Continental title shot in the future. So we had a quick ringside promo with Renee, just her talking up the match and giving a quick interview to Marina Shafir, just asking about the deal with the pre-match slap. And not much there, but just nice little sports feel. I do like that they have Renee out there for at least one quick segment during the show. So they did mention that El Clone is undefeated against the Death Riders so far. And spoiler alert, that streak ended tonight. Another successful eliminator match challenge for Jon Moxley. Again, showing that there is no wrestling trope, where eliminator matches, in AEW at least, end in a win for the challenger and a future title shot, because Moxley has shut them down every single time. So the match started off with El Clone just outsmarting Mox in the ring, and Mox really wasn't able to get into control of the match until they went outside and turned it into a brawl. But even so, with getting back into the ring, El Clone, just pulling out those sick moves that he has. He had a quick heel kick to the face, then moonsault off the barricade. So he does a backflip off the barricade on the outside to hit a moonsault. There's a time when he did Moxley's laying on the second rope, and just a simple little back kick by El Clone to the middle rope just to get Mox back up on his feet. It's just small little moves like that just add such a great touch to the match and the overall moveset for El Clone. Moxley hit a stomp on El Clone on the apron, resulted in a 9 count. El Clone slips back into the ring, immediately lariated over the top, followed up by a Mox suicide dive. That actually led into one of the best moves of the night. El Clone is in the ring, runs up the turnbuckle, does a backflip, turns it into a moonsault on Mox, who's on the floor. That was just incredible. Well worth a couple replays. But the end came by virtue of a paradigm shift and followed up by a Death Rider and a 3 count. There was one other really cool move by El Clone. He hit the coup de grace, a vicious diving foot stomp from the top, and it was just brutal because he just stuck it. Like he stood on his chest for a full second after hitting it. It just looked brutal. So I gotta say that was a great start to the night. I mean, they went back and forth, just a great competition all around. Fans were really into it, really set the pace for the night. It was a really high quality match, and I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better start to the night. So I don't know how your mileage varies on All Clone, but I'm definitely a big fan. And if you weren't before tonight, then if you watch this match, you'd definitely have to take note and give him his props. From there, we had a quick video package going over the Swerve Omega angle from a couple weeks ago now. And that was interrupted at the end by Prince Nana at the announce table, telling Shivani and how they were trying to put the narrative against Swerve. So that $100,000 fine is nothing to Swerve, or a week suspension. And then out came Swerve as well to cut a quick promo, basically saying that he's choosing to move forward with no regrets, and that he'll remind anyone that he is the most dangerous man in AEW. Basically saying that Kenny Omega, whatever happened, it's all on him for challenging him, Swerve, as not just a man, but as the most dangerous man, just who he is as a person. So that was it. He laid down the gauntlet, basically saying he is going back to the Swerve who is just ruthless and, again, most dangerous. Crowd was kind of split. They still wanted to cheer him, still wanted to do the Who's House, Swerve's House, all of that, but there were definitely those fans who didn't appreciate what he did to Kenny Omega. So interesting to see how things will go from here. Then we move to a backstage promo after Swerve is done, and we have Brody King with Bandito. And the first thing Brody does is he has Swerve's name in his mouth. He said, why does he have a problem with Kenny saying that he, Brody King, is the most dangerous, and says that he basically has a problem with Swerve and his attitude and for getting in his way for the AEW World title, because Brody King has his eyes set on that. So future clash potential for Brody King and Swerve at this moment. Later on that as the night progresses. So we move on to a one-on-one match. The featured Orange Cassidy against Gabe Kidd. Shivani and the crew mentioned that no one's heard from Roddy Strong since he walked out on Orange Cassidy in his tag match a couple weeks ago. So basically, really strong showing for Gabe Kidd. The more I see him, I didn't really care for him in the beginning when he came out. Really, I just saw him as a replacement for that time that Pac was out for injury a while back. But the more I see him, I mean, in ring, he really has little to no flaws, none really. The match was just high impact, high energy by Kidd, just dominant in and out of the ring. I mean, he makes everything look strong, believable, brutal. Like he has intent, like malicious intent with all of his moves. And even in a match with Orange Cassidy, who can, use that sloth style, it was really good to see that, he just wasn't playing with it. So he would not, like some competitors, when you face Orange Cassidy, they would play along and let that thing, happen. But Gabe Kidd, he was cutting it off constantly. Came down to where Orange Cassidy was doing the whole slow chops, hands in the pockets, and Gabe Kidd solved that by grabbing his head, spitting in his face. But awesomely done by Orange Cassidy, totally countered that into a beach break. Then went back to set up for the orange punch. Gabe Kidd pulls the ref in front of him to use as a shield. That causes distraction enough for him to apply the claw, then hit Orange Cassidy with a jumping pile driver for the 1-2-3. End of the match, Gabe Kidd with the win over Orange Cassidy. That, of course, was not to be the end of it, because here comes Clark Connors out to the ring, and he comes down and they're putting the boots to Orange Cassidy, a double team attack. But cue Darby Allin for the save. He is able to hit a destroyer on Connors. Then Gabe Kidd tries to come in to put an end to that and attack Darby, but he runs into the orange punch that Orange Cassidy wasn't able to hit on him during the match. He eats it there, and that is followed up when Darby goes to the top and uses the skateboard to do that skate stomp of his onto the back of Gabe Kidd. So looks like setting up for a tag match in the future, Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy against Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors. So another really good showing for Gabe Kidd. Really has grown on me a lot and sets up for a future battle down the line. Next, we go to the backstage promo, and we hear that Statlander is finally cleared for competition, and she will be teaming up with Thunder Rosa to face the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, at Collision this Saturday. And we also find out that there will be an AEW Women's title match with Tekla facing Thunder Rosa, and that will be at next week's Dynamite. And Renee's back there interviewing Thunder Rosa and Statlander, and it just seems like Statlander is kind of out of it and just telling Thunder Rosa to be careful. When Renee asks Statlander why she's so focused on telling Thunder Rosa to be careful, Stat just walks off screen. So we'll see what develops there, if there's a change coming for Statlander, or how exactly Collision unfolds in that tag match with Stat and Thunder Rosa against the Sisters of Sin, and then the championship match for Rosa Tekla at next week's Dynamite. All right, then we had a quick one-on-one match. Kevin Knight against Mansoor. And just like last week, Shivani and the announcers are speaking about how there's a cockiness now to Kevin Knight. I really just think he's showing more personality and, showing some more charisma. But, I guess you can see it as him being cocky, but he's just, just showing his style a bit. That's how I see it anyway. So pretty straightforward match here. Might have been 5 minutes tops. Little bit of action from Mansoor here and there, but mainly just a showcase for Kevin Knight. He eventually hits the UFO splash, quick 3 count, and that was the end of it. Just a short highlight match for Kevin Knight, really. And from then he went to, he grabbed the mic and cut a little promo saying that he is sure that Hangman will win the world title. And what's interesting here is he said whether it was a Texas death match or a one-way DQ match, which that hadn't been mentioned yet. So I don't know if he spoke out of turn or what happened there. But either way, he said that when Hangman wins, he wants to be the first challenger, basically just staking claim to that. And, further enhancing his story of not just being the future, but being the here and now. His words exactly. So interesting to see what will happen there. Whether Hangman wins or not, it is interesting to see that Kevin Knight is getting more time, getting more of an opportunity to shine, and is throwing his name into the world title picture, which, if you'll remember, a few weeks back, he was speaking to Swerve about that, and he had a match with Swerve, and now that was a different Swerve, a Swerve that may not have been as focused as he is today, especially when it comes to being most dangerous and staking his own claim and wanting no one in his way for the AEW World Championship. So we'll see what happens there. I'm sure that'll be a callback at some point. From there, we have the long-awaited stipulation decision. So another face-off with Hangman, Adam Page, and MJF, with Tony Schiavone, good old Tony, in the ring to help facilitate and mediate. So they did mention that Hangman is 5-1 in his career in Texas death matches. But MJF, he starts things off and brings up the fact that he's saying Adam Page will be the second man whose AEW career he ends. Obviously, referring to Cody Rhodes, who made it this same stipulation earlier back in the life of AEW, and how Cody ended up losing. I was never able to challenge for that world title, and was only involved with the TNT title until he chose to pack his bags and head to the Fed. So with that being said, I thought there was this funny part where he's like, hold on, let me throw my gum into the garbage. And he, of course, tosses it into the crowd. Man, if you hit me with your gum, there's going to be a problem. That's so nasty. But just a cool little joke. But either way, MJF wanted to use a coin flip to decide what the stipulation would be. So tails, it would be a Texas death match. Heads, it would be a one-way no DQ match, which means it would only pertain, no DQ would only pertain to MJF, so he could do whatever he wants in the match, but not Hangman. And he said, basically, to Hangman, do you accept the coin flip idea? Are you a cowboy or a coward? And of course, Adam Page says, go ahead and do it. No problem. Basically, he went on to say, who MJF would be if he actually gets to be in that death match and has to deal with the glass and the barbed wire and all of that. And that basically MJF doesn't stand a chance in the Texas death match. But honestly, that Adam Page can beat him in any match. It doesn't matter, because he can beat a POS like MJF. Because if he can't beat someone like MJF, then he doesn't deserve the title. So he says, go ahead, do the coin flip. And of course, big shocker, right? It's heads, one way, no DQ. Music plays, MJF's out of here. But wait, Adam Page wants to see the quarter, which I'm sure all of us at home in the arena are like, obviously a coin flip, really? Like, come on now. It's obviously a double-sided coin. Something's up. Are we really going to go with this? But they at least respected us, and nope, they're not going to go that way. So MJF tries to leave, even though Page wants to see the quarter, but out comes Jet Speed out to the stage, as well as Brody. They block him, get the quarter, and lo and behold, it's a rigged coin. Schiavone then says, per Tony Khan, since it's a rigged coin that MJF tried to use, the match will be Texas Death. So that is settled. It will be Texas Death, MJF versus Hangman Adam Page for the World Heavyweight title at Revolution on March 15th. But we still have that cloud hanging over everything with Hangman not being able to challenge for the AEW World title if he loses to MJF. So what do you all think? Is this going to happen again? Is this going to be Cody 2.0, or are we going to get some vindication, a rewriting of history, a do-over, and this time MJF loses and we don't have to deal with that stipulation going the wrong way? Interesting, because MJF is just newly champion. So let me know what y'all think. I am going to be hoping that Hangman can pull it off and stipulation doesn't end up coming back to bite him. From there, we have a quick video package just highlighting the Brawling Birds, them talking about not being there to shake hands and whatnot. Just quick and to the point. I believe they'll have a match at Collision. Then from there, the women's tag title match, a match I was looking forward to personally. I saw this for another opportunity for Megan Bayne to finally get her hands on some gold in AEW, because as far as I'm concerned, she deserves it. But we have Mega Bad versus Babes of Wrath for the titles. Lena Cross comes out on stage with Mega Bad, but stays in the back. Not a terribly long match. It did go through one commercial break. Megan Bayne and Willow Nightingale started it off, matching power for power. Went into some solid teamwork from Babes of Wrath. They were able to clear the ring with a double lariat, sending Mega Bad out to the ring. But there was a point where, Megan Bayne was able to hit a suicide dive, one of her signatures, from the inside to the out. And that set up moonsault for Penelope Ford. So she went up to the top rope, did a moonsault onto the floor on both members of Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale. But I do have to say Willow was dominant throughout the match with her spine busters, German suplexes. I mean, she was doing pretty much whatever she wanted in there, even when faced up against Megan Bayne. But like I said, not really a long match, and out of nowhere, Lena Cross enters and hits Willow Nightingale with the title belt. Disqualification. I was like confused. It's like, why? Like, if they were in danger of losing, like about to be pinned, I can see that happening. That happens sometimes when it's like, we're just going to stop this before you lose 1, 2, 3. But the match was not in danger of ending, so I'm not quite sure what happened there, why it had to go down that way. But, it left with Megan Bayne holding the titles and celebrating with Babes of Wrath down on the mat. So I imagine we'll see this continued further, probably end up being a match at Revolution, but we'll see. No, they didn't linger a lot at all. They moved right on to the Brody King versus Mark Davis, aka Dunkzilla, with Don Callis coming out to do commentary. So this was another match that I was really looking forward to. A huge fan of Brody King, as most everyone is, and Mark Davis, he's just been killing it. So happy that he's not gotten lost in the shuffle since coming back from his injury a while back, because I was a little worried for a while that he wouldn't have a place to fit in when he joined the extensive family of Don Callis. But he has been a huge factor in that family and has been having some marquee matchups, just coming off a match against Jon Moxley. That was another banger, really great. And speaking of that match, Davis did come out with his hand bandaged up from where it was bloodied from hitting the ring post last week. And it was good that they used it throughout the match. Every time he tried to use it, he would just grimace in pain and sell, that it was really hurt. And man, that match was the absolute definition of big meaty men, just going at it. It was like complete stalemate. They were throwing their weight around literally, and every move looked like it was devastating, just like all out. just throwing their bodies at each other, be it a suicide dive by Brody King to the outside, or that splash, a seated Mark Davis on the outside of the ring, the cannonball by Brody King. I mean, there were sentons, there were just wicked lariat after lariat. I mean, they were just throwing haymakers at each other. It was just a really good, well-paced match of two big guys just going at it. It ended just as it should, really, with just trading lariats for so long. Finally, Brody's going for a shot. Mark Davis tries to block it with his injured hand, winces, and then gets clobbered by a big Brody lariat for his troubles. And 1, 2, 3. So no gonzo bomb, just a straight up big old lariat clothesline ends the match. It was a refreshing take. Nicely done. Brody King then grabs the mic, has a quick promo, calls out Swerve again, and says, know that he, Brody King, is the most dangerous man in AEW, and that he's looking for a fight at Revolution. And then we cue that Swerve's in the back watching on the TV with Prince Nana at his side. So I would imagine that will be accepted. And wow, that, geez, I don't think Brody should have done that, because Swerve is not playing around. So it's going to be a hell of a match either way, but Swerve is not to be messed with right now. Bandito ended up grabbing the mic and saying he wants a fight at Revolution 2, and Andrade's music hits and they basically salute each other. So it looks like we'll have that match possibly at Revolution as well. Now, right before the main event, they do a quick backstage promo. Kyle Fletcher is back from Australia. He now has updated TNT title that he is calling Pinky now, at least in reference to Ciampa, because he said basically, you know what, Ciampa, you have no claim on this title. You had it for 2 weeks. No big deal. This is not Sylvie. This is Pinky. From there, Okada interrupted, did his quick dig to Takeshita for saying he doesn't have a title, but both he, Okada, and Fletcher do. And he's saying he wants Okada to have their first ever match at this upcoming Collision. So it looked like Kyle Fletcher agreed. It looks like we'll be getting Okada on Saturday night. So this leads to the end of the night, the main event, the 10-man Mile High Madness Anything Goes match, FTR and Demand against Jack Perry, the Bucks, and the Rascals, comprised of Xavier and Wentz. So Perry came out first, got jumped by all 5 heels. A quick giant brawl ensues with everybody. Perry's music's playing in the background. It's split on 3 screens, just havoc, shades of Stadium Stampede days. It was a lot of fun. The fans loved it. There was a point where the Perry's music recycled and the fans just went crazy. They were so happy that they were doing it over again and, doing the hand waves and singing the song. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. So, and then Martin Reed, the other member of the Rascals, came out running down the ramp and hit this cutter from the ramp to the inside of the ring on one of the Demand guys, one of the Gates of Agony guys. And there was Perry breaking a vacuum canister on Toa. It's like sent dust all over the place. Super kick party galores. I think Toa ate 5 super kicks at once, all at the same time. There were like 4 table spots. Perry got backdropped from the ring to the outside through a table by Toa. Both Rascals had Ricochet up on the guardrail outside and did a double Spanish fly on Ricochet through a table. I mean, Toa got power bombed, super kick combo through a table from the apron to the floor via Perry and the Bucks. It was just madness. It was a lot of fun though, as those Stadium Stampede type matches are. So It was a great main event, great way to bookend the night. Had a lot of fun. Ended with a BT trigger and then a assisted running knee with Perry, helped by the Bucks. That running knee on Ricochet, and it was a 3 count. That was all she wrote. Fans went home happy. Everybody's having a good time. I thoroughly enjoyed that show. I imagine everyone out there did as well. So it looks like Penelope Ford was injured during that tag team match against the Babes of Wrath. May have possibly been when she did that moonsault from the top to the floor. Kind of looks like she fell between Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron. So we'll see. Hopefully she's okay. Looks like they had to call a quick audible to end the match. So we'll see in the future what they end up doing. Not sure who was supposed to win that match, how it was all supposed to go down, but I'm sure we'll get more details and see where the story goes from here. So just hoping the best for Penelope Ford, who's fresh off an injury, and we'll have to wait and see what happens next. What did you all think of the show tonight? I thought it was really good. So feel free to comment. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you felt about that women's tag title match, how you felt about Brody King and his challenge to Swerve. What do you guys think is going to happen there? And with Hangman and MJF, we have a Texas Death Match official for Revolution. Is Hangman going to get his title back, or is he going to be kicked out of the world title picture for the remainder of his AEW career? Let me know what you guys think. If you like that stipulation, where do you think it'll go? What do you want to see? Let me know. I am curious to how you all see it. So please let me know. Thank you again if you subscribed. If not, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share, all that good stuff. Thanks again for joining me. Have a great rest of your day / night, whenever it is you're watching this. And thank you again. I will be talking to you all soon.